formula is one that I've been kind of afraid of, to be honest with you. You know, you see the images and it's kind of faded looking, and you know it's obviously a vintage formula. But I'm here today basically to try out the vintage formula with and without a vintage look. I tried one out and I can show you. And this is one that I just did a vintage formula on. And as you can see, it's still pretty good. I don't know if I can focus in on that. Maybe. But it's still pretty opaque, you know. It's, again, I can't really show you. It is a little bit, there is a little bit of transparency there, and I know I can't show you, so I apologize. But it's still a pretty good looking shirt, you know. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to end up using this at least for my own stuff, for everything. At least for the color white. I've had the not the classic formula, but the 15-cent transfers. I've done those and it's looked identical. Actually, I do have one that's let me see if I have it here. I do have one that I did with the 15-cent transfer, and I could try showing you the difference, but again, it probably won't make a difference. This one here is with the 15-cent transfer, and this is with the vintage formula. Obviously, it's a solid design, but to give you an idea of kind of what you're looking at, let me try to turn this off. That is with the 15-cent transfer, and this is with the vintage transfer. I think you can slightly see a difference. I can, but I know it's different on the screen. But long story short, I really don't think that it's that much of a difference. The feel is definitely different. You know, if you've used the 15-cent transfers, you know that after it dries, it feels like plastic. I don't really care for that, and I'm thinking the customers probably don't either. But the vintage formula, it is really soft. And here's one that I did with a vintage look to it. So, I mean, it looks cool. I mean, it's not really professional vintage, but I just kind of did more of a distressed look than a vintage look. But I like that. You know, and it feels really soft. It's been sitting here drying for the last, I don't know, maybe hour or so, and they usually definitely gave the other formula enough time to set. But I mean, you can kind of feel, you still hear it, but you don't feel any edge to that whatsoever. It is definitely a softer material, and this is on a Toltex, which is actually from TSC Apparel, a demo that I'm trying. Feels like a good shirt. Then I've got another one here from ELO or ILO, which is also from TSC Apparel. Trying to get away from Gildan this year. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's a really durable shirt. I typically use the 6-ounce Ultra Cottons. I typically wear them every day, and even the hoodies. This is a district hoodie, which I really like. This is, again, as a sample. But yeah, all my demo shirts are going to be Bella Canvas. I'm going with a little bit more premium shirt for a whole 50 cents or whatever it is extra. I'll eat it, you know. And they actually recommend a shirt like that with the vintage formula to keep the softness. I haven't tried one of these vintage formulas on the Gildan shirts yet. I can probably do that. I'll do that now. I'll set you up and we'll do a test on that. Alright, so one of the things that you definitely want to make sure with the vintage formula, if you're using the 15-cent transfer formula, which is typically $3.25 at 7 seconds, make sure that you change your temperature and your time. My very first sample this morning, I almost screwed it up, and I did 325 at, I do 9 seconds. I add 2 seconds to the time, no matter what it is for the transfers. But I almost screwed it up. It did work. It did transfer at 325, but there was one small area that didn't work out. So make sure you change that. And if you do screw it up, you're still able to repress it, which I did, and it worked out fine. But I do this at 375, and it recommends 5 seconds, so I add 2 seconds to it. I've been using that for thousands of transfers, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever. But it's pretty much 1 and then 2. You add 2 seconds to it, and it helps out it helps set the transfers. But yeah, so let's add this in there. Let me get this all lined up. And perfect. So I do a pre-press, usually 1 or 2 seconds. And then let me get a formula here. This one's actually the solid design. And usually just do this by eye. Press it. Hot peel. And it looks great. Looks pretty good. You can see everything's stuck on there nicely. Yeah, I guess I can't really say anything other than it looks like a great product. It's a little bit more expensive, but you know, I think that the quality is there. I mean, as far as white, it doesn't bleed through very much. I'm pretty sure that the vintage does not have the dye blocker in it, so it's definitely a little different material. Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, but everything's been working out pretty good. You know, I haven't had any issues. I've seen some of the shirts that I've done with the 15-cent formula, and they're really not cracking all that much. And I assume people are washing them. You know, I have 2 shirts in the house that I did back when I first started, and they are cracking. And I've got maybe 15 washes on them. So they're gonna crack. At least the 15-cent formula. I want to try the water-based transfers, but I have not yet. I know that, you know, I've tried the sample that they send you, but it's not really a true test. You know, you don't really have 5 of them to try on different materials. I think they look great. You know, the water-based, I didn't have any that cracked. I had a sample kit from 613 Originals and a sample kit from FM Expressions, and neither of them had any issues. So I think water-based, if you want a high quality, you know, the best transfer out there, it's probably going to end up being the water-based, but you're going to pay for it. You know, at that point, it's almost worth paying somebody else to do your screen printing. You know, I haven't priced that out, but I can almost imagine that. You know, at 50 transfers, you're probably still looking at $2-3 a piece, maybe somewhere in there. But I think if you're doing just white, and you know, and you almost warn people about the formula, you know, tell them that it's going to be slightly less opaque than the standard screen printing, I think you're going to have no issues. Guys, as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that little bell next to it, and you'll get the most recent videos that we have popping up, and you can take a look at those. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.